servers, the network, storage, and computer, whatever that security devices which is required for organizations. So they primarily, which we call them as an infrastructure as a service. So when you go to the platform as a service, so basically providers, so we'll set up infrastructure and delivers the development platform to develop, test, stage, and host the applications. So these organizations who are providing these kind of services then they are basically called as a platform as a service providers in the cloud computing platform. So we are seeing software as a service. The providers will set up the application infrastructure and delivers the application to the consumers. So we'll take certain examples, then we'll go into an Office 365 environment. So I need an Exchange application. The first thing is an infrastructure requirements. Now Exchange requires an AD infrastructure, requires an anti-spam, requires an antivirus, requires a client to tools like MS Office, which is your Outlook, which is required, and one. So we required a lot of infrastructure for setting up an Exchange application. One, we need an Active Directory environment, we need anti-spam, we need antivirus, and client tools like basically MS Office. So now, when it comes to the software requirements, we need Windows Server 2012. We need basically servers, Exchange server software. Then we require anti-spam software. Then we require antivirus software. And we require basically called as an Outlook for a better utilization or better usage of the Exchange applications. So earlier, we were setting up an Exchange infrastructure. We used to call Exchange infrastructure. So we used to put antivirus gateway and anti-spam gateway. So we used to have called as an antivirus anti-spam gateway. Then we had AD application, Exchange application. So this is my AD server and this is my Exchange application. So users, either from an internal users or from an external users. The internal users or an external users. And requires a firewall here. A firewall. So users is to interact with the Exchange application over the firewall and access this particular infrastructure. Now we have to set up all this infrastructure in order to ensure Exchange is accessible and received. Now we have anti-spam and antivirus the mails which are going to other domains like your Gmail, your yahoo.com, or your hotmail.com, whatever that, etc. So it receives the mails from other domains, and by receives the message from an exchange, then delivers to these particular domains. So basically filters. So it filters these kind of things and basically filters the spam mails, virus emails, then delivered to the exchange and delivers to the organizations. So this is the kind of infrastructure we need to set up. So once we set up, the organization is responsible for availability. The organization is responsible for backup and restore. The organization is responsible for administration. The organization is responsible for patch management and updations. The organization is responsible for security. The organization is responsible for DR environment setup, or whatever that which would see called as all these things. Now we are setting up this huge infrastructure, and apart from that, the organization is also responsible for the availability, backup and restore, administration, patch management, updation, security, and DRT. So the organization needs a dedicated exchange administrator. Now what makes a difference now with Microsoft? So what Microsoft is trying to say now? Earlier, yes, you're purchasing an exchange software, you're purchasing the server, you're purchasing the anti-spam, antivirus and everything. Now Microsoft is saying a simple called a cloud service. As part of the software as a service, so Microsoft has given called as an Office 365, which delivers Exchange, SharePoint, MS Office, Skype for Business, etc. Other software in a lease or a subscription model. So we'll understand what exactly happening there. Now this is Microsoft infrastructure. This is the Microsoft infrastructure. So what Microsoft did, he has set up AD. He has set up an exchange environment. He has set up a SharePoint, a Skype for Business, or a SharePoint, or MS Office tools. As we see, Exchange, SharePoint, Skype for Business, which we called as a Lync earlier, then like an MS Office, etc., like a lot of applications. This is a data center which is managed by Microsoft completely. AD is managed by Microsoft, Exchange is managed by Microsoft, SharePoint is. Now he is delivering these applications in a delegated administrative model. And logical separation of applications. Now he has set up this infrastructure, and is providing the Exchange, SharePoint, Sky for Business, Microsoft Office, and other applications to the organizations in a lease or a subscription model. So this is in one organization. This is another organization. This is another organization. Three of them want to use our Exchange application in a delegated and logical separation of it. So Microsoft is giving access to all the three organizations to use Exchange, SharePoint, Sky for Business, and MS Office applications and other applications which are being provided. Now, what is the advantage of this one? Earlier, organizations were responsible for availability. Now, organizations, which we call them as consumers, are not responsible for availability. Are not responsible for availability, are not responsible for backup and restore, are not responsible for patch and updations. They are not responsible for security. They are not responsible for DR environment. Microsoft will ensure the availability of your applications, availability, will take the backup and restore, and something goes wrong, will do a patch and updations, like service pack updations, will take care of the security, will take care of the DR environment setup for all these inclusions. So organizations can use the application and perform a very basic administration of the applications. They have to create users, user mailboxes, create users, groups, contacts, set up the domains for which we want to provide the Exchange link for Sky for Business applications, set up the connectivity, directory synchronization, user management, like authentication, all these things. But as an end organization consumer, he don't need to bother about maintenance of these applications. So he will focus on usage of the application. He will focus on usage of the application. He will focus on usage of the applications. That is where Microsoft is playing a key role in Office 365 platform. So Office 365 is basically get virtually anywhere access to the Microsoft Office tools. So it provides applications like your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, Access, Publisher kind of an applications. And it also provides products like Exchange, SharePoint, Lync, Project, Visio, Office Web Apps, Office, like other things which are available. Slowly, they are adding a lot of things into the Office 365. They have recently added the Dynamics, and they are adding all the applications which are available from Microsoft. They are making it part of the cloud services. So collaborate with people in real time. So what is the advantage now? I don't need to set up Lync, I don't need to set up SharePoint, I don't need to set up everything. I just sign up into the Office 365 and create a setup my environment. In less than 15 minutes of time, I have the Exchange, I have the SharePoint, I have the Lync, I have the MS Office, all these applications up and running from the Office 365 portals. So which enables you to edit your documents, email, voice, video chats, online meetings, store your documents and share insights, connect with other organizations, like these things. So these centers which are serving the Office 365 applications, okay, they are being globally distributed. So Microsoft is adding these data centers across the globe. Initially, they started with very few data centers. Today, they have roughly around 20 plus data centers across the globe. Okay, so they have expanded a lot, and they are providing these applications from various data centers which they have set up. So the advantage here is so Microsoft is trying to give the access to the users applications from the nearest data center which they can choose of it. So as we would see latest regions, we see Asia Pacific, Australia, Canada, Europe, Middle East, Africa, India, North America, South America. We see somewhere around 10 to 12 data centers have come up. Okay. Government, so we can say US government, China operated by 21 VMware, Germany announced. Okay, so they are basically still adding it in this particular one, government. So we see global regions which have been set up. So majority of the places where they're trying to basically coordinate and set up these particular regions. Okay. So they are adding up these data centers globally, and there have been 27,001 security standards, SAV 70 type security standards, and safe harbor basically standards which are being laid by these particular people. So all these data centers are being certified with these pieces. So they are being regulatory compliance. So Microsoft ensured that it meets certain standards like HIPAA compliance, and like the Family Education and Rights Act, like in GLBA. There are certain regulations which are demanded by the government regulations and other third-party regulations at various countries. So they are basically considered those things and made those Office 365 data centers to comply with these standards, so that the customer need not to bother about So as part of that, Office Professional. So when we look at Office Professional, it is basically in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, all these applications which are being provided. We see Exchange Online, Exchange application is being provided. SharePoint application like Lync Online. There could be cases. I already using an Exchange Server application, but I want the latest MS Office application. Now, Office 365 platform is giving an option to the customers, to the organizations, to choose the product which suits your requirement. So as of at this present state, I have only requirement for MS Office. So I purchase only MS Office application. Let's say another organization is willing to go for an Exchange. Now they want to buy only Exchange. There is no need of an SharePoint and Lync. They are don't have that one. Then they can go for an Exchange, Lync, and other things of it. So simple user interface, role-based access control. So we can delegate the permissions, and identity federation. So multi-factor authentication support. So it can also support called as in one-time password and remove scale limitations. As your users grow, you can keep on adding it. There are no limitations to this particular one of it. This is how we will log into these portals and we will see how best we can do that. So it provides a service connectors like whether your organizational network is prepared for Office 365 or not. The necessary ports and connectivity is being enabled or not. Whether your desktop application, which is running the MS Office application, which is running there, is it meeting the requirement of the Office 365 or not? Okay, so they have set up a lot of, I would say, connectors or tools which can allow the customer to check before he goes into the Office 365 environment. So requirements, Office does not have any operating system requirement except that Windows or Mac OS. So if you're going to use the MS Office application that comes with either Windows or Mac OS, so but it is not compatible with Linux, so we have to ensure that the client side. So it supports Office 2003, that is your Outlook 2003 we can call, and Office 2007 with Service Pack 3 and above levels. So as long as your end user machine is running this Office 2007 with SP3 2010, then it is compatible. So browser requirements. So recommended is an IE10, but best works with IE11. So the client system should have called as an IE11 and it should work for IE11 of it. So let's log into the administrative portals and then we will see that how we can perform this. Normally we have, so Microsoft is providing a 30 days trial edition wherein you can go for that. So I'm saying portal.office.com, or we can go for office365.com. So let me go to the www.office365.com. So here we can see Office 365 homepage. We can see buy Office 365. It also supports 1 month free trial. Now we can see various plans for home per year 4619 per year, 3629 per year per person, 6899 one-time purchase. For office, home and student 2016 per piece. This is one time. This is your per year with various options of it. Or we can see buy 360 per year. Okay, buy for 460 per year of it. Okay, this includes your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, these things which are available of it. Okay, for businesses, click on businesses. They are categorized into two categories. One is a small business, one is an enterprise. This for business, small business, which we would see called 370 rupees per user per month, 528 rupees per user per month, and 225 rupees per month per user of it, which is available there. As we see, services include Exchange, SharePoint, Skype for Business, Microsoft Teams, Avamar. Here we can see all the things are being enabled. Now when we go to the enterprise, see options for enterprise. This we call them as an E1, E3, E5. We see 794 rupees per month, 530 rupees per month, 1320 per month, 2315 per month. So which we can see called as an all the, this is the highest level of that, which gives you all the features which are available in Office 365 and all the services. Okay. So based on the need, okay, we can basically choose whichever the plan which is required. If not, we can go for individual ones and we can get this particular individual ones. Okay. So when you go for here, you'll have a free trial somewhere. So you can go for a free trial and you can get it the free trial and you can buy it. So let me sign into the Office 365 portal. So you have to register for a free trial. Once you register for a free trial, so once we log into the Office 365 admin portal, so here we would be able to see the mail, Avamar application, SharePoint, tasks, a lot of things are available. Then we would see called as an admin section. So normally first time when we set up using any email address or anything, that user account will becomes the tenant administrator. So what happens in this case now? Here we would be able to see users, where you can create your users, manage your users. Here you can see called as groups, you can create your groups. Then individual application administrators, where you can go for an exchange. So each and every application has, like I can go for a SharePoint, I can go for like in Power Apps or Azure AD, like a lot of things, other things which are Sky for Business like this. So here I can see Exchange Admin Center. These are delegated permissions. So here I can create my mailboxes, I can migrate mailboxes, users, and I can configure my compliance management to a certain level. Then I can configure mail flow settings, domain settings. Okay. So here we can see SharePoint Admin Center. We can create our own services, and we can see called as a Sky for Business Admin Center. So we as a customers, so we can go and we can enable the users, organization communication, certain features which are being delegated to us, which we can, but application maintenance is being taken care by the one. Okay, that is the advantage of Office 365 environments. Okay, this way using this portal, we can log into the Office 365 and we can perform the administrative activities. So normally we have called as a service health. So when we go to the dashboard, okay, when we go to the admin center, we see called as a home. Here we will be able to see your health and other things of. Okay, we will be able to see called as an users billing, and we also support, okay, videos and your message center. If there is anything, we can see called as a service health. Click on that. So you'll be able to know your services are up and running or not. You can see that all are in being green, and we can see service is healthy. Okay. Similarly, anything you have that. So this dashboard will give you like an information about, let's say if there is an issue with an exchange, it can use that, it can tell you that exchange service is down or Sky for Business service is down. So that's the overview about Office 365. So if you have any questions, then I'm free to take your questions, please.